That's right, yeah. All right, we'll call our Bryan County Board of Commissioners meeting May 10th meeting to order, please. If you would stand, we'll have the invocation, and then we're going to have Mike with the Lions Club come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And Commissioner Coveney is going to lead us in the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we just want to give you thanks tonight, Lord, and thank you for bringing us through this tornado and the storms of life, Lord, and we ask that you bless us, you bless Bryan County, and keep us safe, Lord. We thank you for the many blessings throughout all of this. We ask that you bless this meeting tonight and have us do your will. For us in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And Mike, if you want to come up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance flag here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike. We want to thank everybody for being here. We have a good many guests. Thank you all for coming. We're going to do just a couple things, and then we're going to do a couple presentations. But first, we need to have an approval of our agenda.
Mr. Chairman, if I could make a motion to go into executive session for litigation, please.
Okay. Change to the, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, we'll have the approval of the April 2022 meeting minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the April 2022 meeting minutes.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and we're going to do a proclamation for the Lions Club for First Responders Appreciation Day. If whoever wants to accept this, come up. Mike, Tommy, if y'all want to accept this. And I'll read it real quick for y'all. And thank y'all for recognizing the first responders. I tell you, there's a lot of things going on with the tornado here recently, and just all year long, the first responders have really showed Bryan County who we are and the surrounding communities too. This proclamation is for First Responders Appreciation Day, May 26, 2022. Whereas first responders, both career and volunteer, include 911 dispatchers, law enforcement officers, firefighters, emergency medical service personnel, emergency management professionals, search and rescue teams, and members of other organizations in the public safety sector. And whereas first responders are vital members of our community, protecting our citizens from existing threats and remaining vigilant against new threats that may emerge, being ready to serve 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas first responders are highly trained, skilled individuals who use their talents to the betterment of the safety of our community. And whereas we recognize the sacrifice of family members of our first responders who make daily sacrifices to support their loved ones' service, all well knowing the risks and dangers involved with protecting our community and the possibilities of not returning home each day. And whereas we give appreciation and respect to all Bryan County first responders, including Bryan County Sheriff's Office, Bryan County Fire Emergency Services, Pembroke Police Department, Richmond Hill Police Department, Pembroke Fire Department, and Richmond Hill Fire Department. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Bryan County Board of Commissioners that May 26, 2022 shall be recognized as First Responders Appreciation Day. Thank you, sir. Thank the Lions for what they do too. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Great. Thank you. And then we have the next presentation, Chief, if you want to come up. So during the tornado, we lost, as you can see, we lost some buildings, and this flag was picked up by the Lincoln Police Department off of one of our flag poles, and I don't know who ended up with it or where it went, but they ended up with it, and he just wants to come back and present it back to Bryan County. We do want to say thanks to all the first responders, law enforcement. I got there 30 minutes probably after the storm, and there was 18 probably different agencies there ready to serve our community. I mean, law enforcement was around. We assigned them each location. They probably didn't know where they were going, so go to this intersection and don't let any cars through or anybody through. For the whole week they did that. So thank you for coming up and sending your guys over. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You want to say a few words about that?
Mr. Chairman, Commission, I appreciate you guys having us tonight. We got the phone call that night from our EMA, I guess who was in coordination with you guys in partnership and trying to help neighbors out. They called and said that they needed help from us, needed our light towers. So we came out and set them up. We were requesting to set them up at the courthouse and the health department. And set the courthouse one up first, and we get tower erected, turned the lights on, and we noticed the flag was flying upside down, and it was tangled up in tree limbs. So myself and my sergeant, Sergeant Curtis Smith, and Corporal Zach Brown, we took it down, folded it up, intended to hand it over that night, and it kind of traveled back to Rincon with Sergeant Smith. So we put it in a shadow box and wanted to represent it to you guys. It says Bryan County Courthouse, April 5th, 2022, EF4 tornado. Immediately following the tragic storm, this flag was inverted but still flying when it was taken down and secured by members of the Rincon Police Department. So we wanted to present that to you guys, and hopefully when you get your courthouse put back together, we can
Display it in there.
Display it in there.
Good. Thank you, sir, again. Thank you for
Thank you.
sending all you
Thank you.
guys. There's a great response from the students. All right, thank you, sir. All righty. All right, we're on to our consent agenda. If I can get a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, okay, that motion carries. All right. We are down to our public hearing, so we need a motion to close this meeting and open up our public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we close this meeting and open up a public hearing.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, okay. All right, Amanda?
All right, so the first item that we have scheduled for you for a public hearing is the public hearing for the update to the county's comprehensive plan. This public hearing is being held, one, as a requirement from the Department of Community Affairs. This is a necessary step in the comprehensive plan update process, but also because it serves as a great way to introduce the public to the endeavors that we'll be undertaking over the next year and a half. To update the vision for Bryan County. So we're pleased this evening to have with us Glenn Coyne, who is with GMC. That is the consultant that the county has contracted with to help us in this process. And he's going to come up and give his presentation.
Thanks, Amanda. Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission, thanks for having us tonight. Again, as Amanda mentioned, we are required, before we get going, to hold a public hearing, a formal public hearing, to talk about the comprehensive plan process and why we're doing it and what to expect. So, again, the purpose is to just let the community know that this is something that's going to be happening over the next 18 months. Mainly highlight the opportunities that the public will have to get involved in this process, which we hope they will do, and then also hear from you tonight if there's any suggestions or particular items you want us to make sure we focus on. So as I said, there's several different layers of people that are involved in this process. We're working very closely, GMC. Most importantly is how does it get implemented? We take pride in giving you a document that isn't just going to sit on a shelf, that is something that shows you who's responsible for each action, how are you going to get there, what partnerships are going to be involved to make that happen, where's the money coming from? Is it going to be grants? Is it other sources of funding? Is it identified funding you already have? And then there's got to be an ability in here to change. Things are going to change. Your growth will change. The areas of growth will be different. And you have to be able in this planning process to be able to make those changes. Very briefly, again, on the groups that we're working with, the Technical Advisory Committee, those are your department heads. They get together around the table, and they're very helpful to us in making sure that what we're working on is actually going to work. They do this every day. So they help us to get ready for interactions with the stakeholders and with the public. They provide us with data. They give us input on our work that we're doing, and they take a look at our early drafts before we get those released out to the public to make sure that that they pass muster and that they're consistent with the work that they're doing. So that's a very important group. The steering committee is a body that you all appointed, 17 members. In a minute, I'll tell you, we've already had one meeting with them. You know, I hate to exaggerate, but we were blown away by the folks that are on that committee, the input that they gave us. That 2-hour meeting, we learned more about Bryan County than we could have learned in studying it for a year on our own. So kudos to the group that you put together. on the steering committee. I can't say that in every community, but here it is a group that I can tell is going to do really good work. And they're what they are. They're representatives of the community. They're advocates for our planning process. And they came with their homework done. They gave us, somebody brought 2 pages of notes that they handed before the meeting. Other folks gave us ideas that they had clearly thought about before we got there. And we really appreciate that. So great group, steering committee. And then the public. I want to emphasize while I'm here very briefly tonight that the public is going to have many opportunities to get involved both in person and online. We're going to have a series of workshops. I'll show you the schedule in a minute, but we're going to make sure that we have workshops scheduled here in the northern part of the county and also in the southern part of the county so people can get to those meetings. There will be an online survey, which will be in the month of August. Folks will have a month to answer a series of questions about the plan and give us their feedback. We'll come to you with updates throughout the process, throughout this 18 months, so you know what's going on in case people ask you about it. You have an idea of what we're doing. Ditto with the Planning Commission. We want to make sure they know what's going on because they're going to be asked to take actions that relate to the future plan. There is a project website. I'll show you the address in just a minute on a slide, a couple down. But anytime people want to find out about what's going on, day, night, they can go to that dedicated website and get project updates. And then our steering committee meetings are open to the public. If folks want to come and hear what the steering committee is talking about, they can do that. Those are public meetings as well. What have we done so far? We've had our kickoff with the project team, with the staff, community development staff. We've met with them several times. We had our first technical advisory committee meeting back on March 16th. We had, as I mentioned, our first steering committee meeting in the evening of April 18th. All but one of the members were there, and with all of that's been going on here in Bryan County, we thought about maybe postponing that meeting, but we didn't. We had it, and folks were able to be there, and we were appreciative of that. There is a website. There's a link there. If somebody gets this PowerPoint after the meeting, you can click on that, and they'll take you right to the website. And your team here, the marketing team, has put together a logo, branding for the plan, so that when people see this logo, they'll know that has to do with the comp plan update. So you'll see that throughout. Where are we headed? What's the rough schedule look like? We're working through the month of June on our background research and data collection. We have to put together something called an existing conditions report. That's the first step. That's kind of where we are. What does the data look like? Population, transportation, businesses, what does the existing conditions look like? Next, we'll move into the goal setting in July, and then we'll identify what the needs and opportunities are for the plan. And then we'll move on to the mapping. What does the future land use look like? What does the character area, how is the community going to grow into the future? And we'll be doing that in the month of November, as you can see. So next, what we're going to be doing is the Technical Advisory Committee will be getting together in June. And then the next steering committee meeting has been set. It will be July 28th. And again, that we hope to have most or all of the 17 members there, plus the public is invited. And then we'll be scheduling the first public workshops in the month of August. And I mentioned the online survey already. That will be in August and maybe into September as well. And I'll mention once again, the website is available. So that's what we'll be working on next through the process. But again, this was a requirement that we do this so that the public is aware that we're kicking off the comp plan. But I think it's a good opportunity to let people know there's several ways to get involved. And there's a lot of people that will be working on this over the next 18 months. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Or the staff definitely knows how to get in touch with us. And we have bi-weekly meetings with them. We meet with them every other Thursday. So the communication is going back and forth constantly. So we're definitely enjoying working with the staff and with the teams you put together here.
Anybody have any questions, comments? I just want to make sure that we get everything we're doing on our website, so it's very transparent, so people in the community know what's going on. And I know our public information officer can take care of that.
Right.
Get on social media so people know.
Great.
Thank you
Okay.
for coming out.
All right, thanks for giving me a few minutes. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Z 260-22 Blue Ridge Flats LLC, second reading of the ordinance to amend the zoning map for 1.96 acres, parcel 0251-040-01.
So this is the public hearing and second reading of the ordinance to amend the zoning map. This is for property located on Highway 280. The property is currently zoned R15, which is a single-family residential zoning district, and they are requesting that it be rezoned to the B2 General Commercial District. The purpose of the rezoning is in order to allow for an animal hospital to be permitted on that site. So we did present this to the Planning and Zoning Commission at their meeting on April 19th. They and staff are both recommending approval of this request. So this map shows the location of the property. Again, this is located on Highway 280, a little bit west of the 280 and Wilma Edwards intersection. Property consists of approximately 1.96 acres. Based off of the current zoning scheme and the existing zoning map, you can see that this portion of Highway 280 has already developed with some commercial uses in the area. This particular area is identified in the comprehensive plan as being one of those community crossroads suitable to provide for small-scale business opportunities to service the surrounding residential community. With this particular applicant, they are currently operating a facility close by, and they have purchased this property in hopes of being able to relocate their business to this site and still be able to serve the community that they've been serving for a while now. So again, staff is recommending approval. We don't have any additional conditions that we're recommending with that, but I am available for any questions if you have any for me.
Anybody have any questions? Anybody here wish to speak for or against this, since we are in a public hearing? And this is on the Blue Flats?
Yeah.
Okay. If you just state your name.
Hey, I'm Ryan Gregory. It's my property. We're just expanding. That's about it. I'm for it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Anybody else? Okay.
I lost my boots, so I can come up to the podium this time. I'm Catherine Gregory. Ryan was born in Richmond Hill and has been brought up in Bryan County. And we're delighted he's going to stay in the community, and hopefully this rezoning will go through. He loves working in this area. So, thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody
It's hard to
else?
believe that little boy that used to come in my office is a vet. Oh, I know, he was just that big, so really makes me feel old, but that's great.
Maybe he can work on your teeth now. Anybody else? All right. Next item is Z262-22, 22 Development LLC, Cove to Coast, second reading of the ordinance to amend that zoning map of 3.10 acres.
So this is the second reading of this amendment to the zoning map. The property is currently zoned I2, and they're requesting an I1 zoning. Both staff and the Planning and Zoning Commission have recommended approval. This property was rezoned to its current I2 zoning in 2020 in order to permit a boat dealership, as well as a conditional use being approved for that. This was because under I1 at that time, a boat dealership would not have been permitted, and is located within the coastal business park there. With the UDO being passed, boat dealerships are now permitted under that I1 zoning, and the applicant would also like to broker truck sales on the site, which is only permitted under that I1. So they are requesting to go back to that previous zoning. The site is not planned to change or the use, just the brokering of those sales will be added. And so it meets all their criteria and will be more consistent with the surrounding zoning of the business park. So again, we are recommending approval, and as did Planning and Zoning, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions on that? Anybody here wish to speak for or against that project? You come up and state your name, please.
Jason Bryan, Equipment Engineering, good evening. Here, on behalf of the applicant, if you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions there? No questions? Okay, thanks you. All right, next we're the CUP's 178-22 2020 Development LLC Cove to Coast Conditional Use Permit Parcel 048-01-016-001.
So this is a conditional use, and it is on lot 16, which is adjacent to those two lots that we just looked at. is the same owner, and they are requesting a conditional use for a storage yard, which they'll use for boat storage, both for rental and to store extra inventory from their adjacent boat dealership. The applicant did indicate they'll meet all the requirements of this conditional use. Staff did note on their site plan that was submitted, which will be further reviewed through the site plan review process, that they are showing a chain link fence which does not meet the requirements. So the applicant did agree to work with staff and will revise this during the site plan review process. And so both staff and planning and zoning have recommended approval with the condition that the fence material is revised to meet the conditional use standards, and I can answer any questions you may have.
What material would that be?
So there's some options, but they could do like a planted fence, wood fencing, something like that, but chain link isn't permitted.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Anybody here wish to speak for or against that? Jason, come on up.
Jason. Nice to see you all again, Jason. Jason Bryan. Got any questions tonight?
He's done a good job on the boat facility.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
great.
know if he's selling any boats, but he did a good job on that. So.
Good looking building. It's a good looking building.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's going to be a secured area.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I'm talking about a planted fence. I'm sure there'll be some type
Yes,
of.
it'll be gated.
Okay, good.
Okay. And you work with staff on that. I don't want to see a gated and then the plant that big.
Right.
Some tools. All right.
Very good. Great.
Anybody else have anything? All right. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, amendment for zoning condition watergrass plan development. Audra.
Watergrass is a PUD, and it was originally approved April 11th, 2017, and it was amended October 9th, 2018 to add a third phase. With the rezoning, they had 7 conditions as part of their approval. Tonight, before you, they are requesting that condition number 1 be amended to allow a fee in lieu of agreement instead of installing the leisure path. The condition, as it reads now, and I'm summarizing, is basically the developer is required to put in a 10-foot wide asphalt leisure path. The path should have been put in prior to the closing of the 60th lot. There is a provision that if they are unable to get a wetland permit, that they do not have to construct through that area, and it is supposed to be along the frontage of Belfast River. And this is watergrass, and it is the path should be put, as I said, along the frontage of Belfast River, but on the development property itself, not in the county's right-of-way. So when we got to the 60th lot closing or close to it, staff reached out to the developer and asked about timing for this, and that's when we started talking about the condition. This started late last year. At that time, most of the development, or most of Phase 2, had been sold to D.R. Horton, so D.R. Horton has been involved in these discussions. So considering that there were wetlands, that the property along the frontage was actually included in private lots, we talked about options, and so staff and the developers in D.R. Horton thought it would be in everybody's interest to give an option to allow a fee in lieu of, which basically would allow the developer to pay instead of installing the leisure path. So there's no objection from staff or from D.R. Horton or the developers to the leisure path. At the time this was done, that the condition was placed on it, the county ordinance didn't address exterior property improvements, pedestrian paths. Also, we didn't have a bike and pedestrian plan, and there was the existing development patterns of that time. Fast forward about 4 years, now we have a UDO that addresses these types of issues. We are working on a bike and ped plan that more clearly defines where we want these items, and the development patterns, we're seeing a little bit of a change on where development is occurring. So one of the big issues from the staff level is it probably is going to make more sense to put it on the opposite side of Belfast River. So, and D.R. Horton and the developers don't own that property. So the staff thinks it's best for the county to get the fee in lieu of, and then we can put it in at the appropriate time, and we can do it with other pedestrian paths, so we have that connection. So the amendment before you, and I'm going to read it for the record, and it is also on page 184 of your packets. As part of the PUD approval requirements, a 10-foot wide asphalt leisure path shall be constructed within the 30-foot undisturbed PUD buffer adjacent to Belfast River Road, as shown on the master plan. Leisure path shall be constructed prior to the closing of the 60th lot. The leisure path design, permitting, mitigation, and construction shall be performed by the owner at owner's expense. If approval for an asphalt leisure path is not received for the wetland area, the leisure path shall stop short of the wetland delineation line. The leisure path is to be owned and maintained by the PUD Homeowners Association. In the alternative, the owner may pay a fee in lieu of constructing the leisure path. The terms and conditions of the fee in lieu shall be memorialized in a formal agreement by and between Bryan County and the owner or the owner's successor in interest. Should the fee in lieu of option be exercised, final ownership and maintenance responsibilities of the leisure path shall be per the terms and conditions of the agreement. And with that, staff and Planning Commission did recommend approval of this amendment.
Anybody have any questions for Audra? Anybody wish to speak for or against that condition? State your name if you would, please.
Tim Casey, I'm a developer of Watergrass. As pretty much Ms. Audra said, we've been working with staff on this process to get it done, and we're willing to pay the fee in lieu of to get this wrapped up. So whatever we can do to get this wrapped up, we'd be glad to, and to help the county on whatever we got to do.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? No. Anybody else? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry. You just come up and state your name, please, sir.
Tim Stone with D.R. Horton, a home builder in the community, and I agree with, I've been working with the staff and Audra and Tim Casey, just trying to do what we think is best for the community given the current situation. So if you guys have any questions for the home builder, I'll take those now.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Nope. Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming, too. All right. That is our last public hearing. We'll take a motion to go back into our regular scheduled meeting and vote on these items.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we close the public hearing and move back into the regular meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. First up is the Bryan County Comprehensive Land Use Plan.
No, I don't think.
Should we? No. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I'm looking at both. Too many notes. All right. First up, vote is the Z 260-22 Blue Ridge Flats LLC second reading of the ordinance to amend the zoning map for 1.96 acres, parcel 0251-040-01.
Mr. Chairman, I can make a motion to approve case number Z 260-22 and rezoning of PIN number 0251-04001 from R15 to B2 for the operation of an animal hospital.
Second that.
Second that. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, the next one up is Z 262-22 2020 Development LLC Cove to Coast. Second reading to amend the zoning map for 3.1 acres parcel 04801-017-001 and 04801-018-001.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve case Z number 262-22 and the rezoning of PIN number 048-01-017-001 and 048-01-018-001 from I-2 to I-1 for the purpose of truck sales.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, next up is our conditional use permit for 178-22 2020 Development LLC, Cove to Coast. Conditional use permit parcel 048-01-016-001.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve CUP 178-22 with the condition that the fence material is revised to the conditional use standards.
Second. Second, any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, we're down to the amendment for the zoning condition for Watergrass Plan Development.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the request to amend zoning condition number 1 of the Watergrass Planned Unit Development in order to allow a fee in lieu of option.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on that one? Okay, no discussion. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, thank you. All right, now we're down to our community development non-public hearing items. This is some first reading. So Z 264-22 Edward Meyer, first reading of ordinance to amend the zoning map for 4.8 acres, parcel 0361-027.
So this is just the first non-public reading for rezoning for property located on Highway 204. Is currently zoned B1, and they were requesting RR1 zoning in order to construct a home. And it will be, the first public hearing will be this month at Planning and Zoning, and then it will be back with you for the second reading in June.
Okay.
Any
Do we
questions?
have any questions on that? Nope. Okay, that's first reading. The next first reading is Z 236-20 RP Seaport LLC. First reading of an ordinance to amend the zoning conditions parcel 028-029.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the first reading to amend the zoning ordinance for what's known as the Warnell Farms tract. That was part of the North IDR rezonings that occurred in 2021. At that time, conditions were placed on the rezoning. The applicant is coming before you tonight to amend the conditions related to the timing of compliance with the transportation improvement agreement and the water and sewer service agreement. This item will be heard by the Planning Commission on May 17th, and it should be brought back to you at your, this actually says June 14th meeting, but I believe that has been changed to June 8th.
Yes, that is changed to June 8th.
So specifically, there are two conditions that the applicant is requesting be amended. The first one is related to traffic and transportation. It says prior to any subdivision, major or minor, being approved and/or any building or land disturbance permits, including timbering and clearing and grading, being issued, it requires the transportation improvement agreement be finalized. Through no fault of the developer/applicant, we are still working with the applicant on the staff level on that agreement, and they would like to get started on their clearing and grading, which staff has no objection. So the proposed language is prior to any subdivision, major or minor approvals or building or land disturbance permits being issued, the following conditions shall be met. The exception will be the timbering and/or clearing and grading permits can be issued prior to the agreement being executed. The second condition relates to water and sewer, basically the same issue, that not supposed to issue clearing and grading before the agreement. So the proposed language is prior to subdivision, minor or major approvals or building or land disturbance permits being issued, the following conditions shall be met. The exception will be that timbering and/or clearing and grading permits can be issued prior to the agreement being executed. And staff estimates that we should be able to bring those agreements to you for approval in August.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. All right, Ben, you're up with some items for you. We'll be voting on these items too, so.
Item 1 is the Bryan Fisherman's Co-op grant application. As you know, we submitted a Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Grant application to the Georgia DNR back in October of 2021. DNR notified that we were approved and selected to go into the second round for $3 million for this project. Of course, we currently have budgeted $1.5 million in matching funds. The second round is basically securing up your budget and turning in the other documentation. And to enter that second round, which is non-competitive, we need a resolution that authorizes the county to proceed with that second level application for that grant.
Need a motion to approve that resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the county to proceed with the second level application stage for the Georgia Outdoor Stewardship Program grant.
Second.
Second, any discussion on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Ben?
Item 2 on the agenda is in tandem with the zoning condition you just approved. Bryan County approved the Watergrass Planned Unit Development PUD on April 11th, 2017. It also had another amendment which was approved in October 9th of 2018. For both approvals, the Board of Commissioners included zoning conditions. Zoning Condition 1 established the obligation of the developer to construct a leisure path by a certain lot closing. After consulting with Watergrass and D.R. Horton, the home builder, the purchase of Phase 2, staff and Watergrass LLC and D.R. Horton agreed that having a fee in lieu of option would be beneficial to the county and the developer and the home builder, while still enabling the county to provide additional pedestrian bicycle connections within the county. So what this does is able to include that within our infrastructure. And this agreement states that, and should the Board of Commissioners approve this request, the Board of Commissioners will consider the fee in lieu of agreement, which will require James Royal and Michael T. Casey to pay $44,600 to the county to use for installing a portion of a multi-use path along Belfast River Road. The engineering director and consulting with T&H, Thomas and Hutton, our engineers determined that this amount was reasonable. Evaluation of cost and improvements should Watergrass and Horton install the path per the zoning conditions.
Okay, we need a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve a resolution approving the fee in lieu of agreement with James Royal and Michael T. Casey in the amount of $44,600 for the installation of a leisure path.
Second.
Second. Any discussion on that? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right.
Item 3 is a water and sewer service agreement, SJC Properties Incorporated. They intend to develop property located within Phase 1 of Interstate Center Industrial Park, Lot 2A. As such, SJC desires certain commitments from Bryan County regarding water and sewer service to the development. Water and sewer service agreement must be entered into with the county to identify the capacity being allocated, SJC, and the total capital recovery fees required in consideration for that capacity allocation and the appropriate infrastructure that has to be built for that. What we're looking for is to authorize the chairman to execute the water and sewer agreement between the Board of Commissioners and SJC Properties Incorporated.
Do we need a motion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion authorizing the chairman to execute the water and sewer service agreement between the Board of Commissioners of Bryan County and SJC Properties, Inc.
Second.
Second, any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
Item 4 is the 2022 LMIG program. This is our road resurfacing program. Each year, the Department of Transportation provides a grant funding for local governments through the Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant Program for road-related construction projects. For Bryan County, that allocation from GDOT almost totals to $500,000. GDOT requires a local match of almost $146,000, totaling to 30%. Additional funding, of course, has been allocated to the very important program of T-SPLOST. And those funds were brought up to a total of almost $1.2 million, and that has been we've been able to basically almost triple our road resurfacing miles with that vital tool. The 2022 road program includes the installation of shoulders and resurfacing on Oak Level Road from SR 144 to Jake Brown Road, the installation of shoulders and resurfacing of Groveland Nevels Road from 280 to Bullitt County Line, and the installation of shoulders on Belfast Keller Road from Belfast River Road to Cranston Bluff Road. Per the attached letter, for the recommendation of award, the low bidder for the construction project was Clendon Enterprises in the amount of $1,464,580.60. As has been the recent trend in bidding infrastructure and construction contracts, the low bid is approximately 22% above the previously estimated construction costs, so the award of this will require also a budget amendment, which can also be done through T-SPLOST. So You will see the corresponding budget amendment and the corresponding award of the contract to McClendon Enterprises for the appropriate amount.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to award a contract to McClendon Enterprises in the amount of $1,464,580.60 and approve the budget amendment in order to provide additional budget funding for the total 2022 LMIG road program as presented.
Second. Second, any discussion on that? No discussion, okay. Glad to get some roads done.
Thanks to T-Splost.
And T-Splosh, and thanks to T-Splosh, yep. Yeah, T-Splosh is huge for our county, and it's on the ballot this time, so saves us a lot of money. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right.
Item 5 on the agenda is a resolution supporting Board of Education's Bryan County School District General Obligation Sales Tax Bond Series 2022. School District has issued bonds to be repaid from educational sales tax proceeds. The bonds have been validated on March 10th, 2022 by Superior Court of Bryan County. The School District has recommended to the Board of Commissioners as the levying authority that it adopt the attached resolution in support of the bonds by resolution dated April 28th, 2022, a copy of which is provided in the packet. The adoption of the resolution is in the public interest and pursuant to Bryan County's responsibilities as a levying authority.
We need a motion on that.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the resolution supporting the Board of Education's School District General Obligation Sales Tax Bonds, Series 2022, as presented.
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, Ben.
Item 6 is the Commonwealth and Carrollton Town Center Apartments. Bryan County has been approached to partner with Commonwealth companies on an affordable housing project within the Richmond Hill Carrollton Town Center. Will provide 45 multi-family age-restricted affordable apartments serve 55 and older. The mixed-use development will include a ground floor commercial area and a new Bryan County Senior Center space of about 10,000 square feet. Commonwealth would own and manage the project as well as maintain the restricted rents for 30 years. So if this tax credit application was successful, we'd have a new senior citizen center for 30 years. The project will utilize affordable housing tax credits by the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. This is a first step in the process, of course, and to gain more points, they're asking that you write a letter in support of actually loaning through the appropriate authority, which would be a downtown development authority or a housing authority, but a loan amount of $1.35 million to be paid back at 2% over the term of 15 years in exchange for this use of this space. And basically what this would do is get them more points with a partnership with the county, a financial partnership or the appropriate authority, which would make the project more fundable as a tax credit project in DCA's eyes.
Okay. We need a motion on that.
I did.
Yep. So we need a motion. Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve a resolution to adopt the funding terms for a loan agreement and authorize the chairman to execute a funding letter in support of an affordable senior housing development.
Second.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, Ben, we're down to the automatic aid agreement.
Item 7 is basically a housekeeping item. It's an automatic aid agreement with the City of Richmond Hill with the opening of their Fire Station 3 on Belfast Killer Road. An amendment is being requested to the 2022 automatic aid agreement between the City of Richmond Hill and Bryan County as it relates to emergency services, thus being fire and EMS. We're asking, the fire chief has reviewed this and is asking the chairman authorize, or the commission authorize the chairman to execute this automatic aid agreement, which updates the placement of the new fire station.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion authorizing you to execute the intergovernmental automatic agreement as presented.
Second. Any discussion on that? I will say that came in handy during our tornado, and the other communities stepped up big time and helped us out. We couldn't have done it without them. So, got a motion to second. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Do we, we'll go ahead and if anybody has anything, public comments this time, we're going to go into executive session, but if somebody wants to make any comments, we'll go ahead and take that. No comments? Okay. Yes.
I would just like to bring it to everyone's attention, and I know it'll be publicized where it needs to be, but the commission meeting next month is not going to be on Tuesday. It's moved to Wednesday, June the 8th. I know it'll be published everywhere it needs to be.
Yes.
This is just another opportunity for everybody to know the meeting will not be on Tuesday as normal. We had some scheduling conflicts.
Yep. So June the 8th in the south end. At same time, 5:30. Okay. All right. We need a motion to go into executive session for litigation.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of litigation.
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye. Okay. We're going to go into executive session. Back.